Would you like to see Cities Skylines with 5 different builders? Are you excited when they don't just fix traffic? Hi, I'm Lee, and in this episode of 5B1C, we'll elevate education levels with a transit-oriented trade school campus. Welcome back to Port Concord. Today we're building a university and a new streetcar system to connect our city to the university, as well as some new neighborhoods that we'll be building in that part of town. We're going to build the university up here on this hill where it'll have a good view of the city. The city will have a good view of the university, let's hope too. Now, I named some streets throughout the rest of the city. In fact, I named all the rest of the streets after talking to Zardis and City Planner. Last episode, we named everything downtown and in Concord Place. And then before I started recording this episode, I took care of everything over here in this neighborhood and over here in City Planner's neighborhood. This highway now has a name. It's the Cascade Highway. I'll show you why in a second. And then this highway right here is the Cross Bay Highway that goes across the bay. Now the Cascade Highway, let me show you why I called it the Cascade Highway. This is a fantastic map. It's really gorgeous. So we've got a few rivers that run out of the mountains and down into the bay, and under each and every one of them there's a canyon, and there's all sorts of really beautiful little cascades that this highway just has great access to. It'll be exciting to see what we can do with that area if we ever get to that. Now here we have another one, another cascade that runs right underneath the highway right here. So that's why that one's going to be the Cascade Highway. Now over here in City Planner's area, Concord Valley, that he built in his last couple episodes, we went with a tree theme, and I also decided to call this Pullman Street because it was a pretty big name in the railroad industry back in the day. Also had Chestnut Street. Chestnut Street runs over here. I'm just going to pretend that it was intended for it to connect, but then the railroad came in and thwarted all of that connecting. Also named the main street through here. Since this is City Planner's area, I thought it would be appropriate, since we're talking about trees, Ash Avenue. Makes sense, right? Anyway, Dale Drive also connects to Dale Farms and also connects all the way over here to Main Street. Now, Dale Drive is actually mostly over here. It's a segment of Spruce Street, but when they built the highway, they would have separated Spruce Street. So we have South Spruce and North Spruce, and the old center part of Spruce is now called Dale Drive. Just a little overview on the street names. Now over here on the other side of town, this is up at 5 stars, fully 5-star park here, Boulevard Park. This is actually designed, whether you realize it or not, for streetcars, for trams as they're called in game, and you're gonna get to see what I'm talking about later on. So right now though, we need to get a university built. We've got to get some sort of higher education because we don't have any. We need to build a high school too. University, we have about 5,000 graduated citizens who are well educated and would be eligible for university, and we only have public libraries like this one way out over here to help them get to highly educated. And in order to build high density, we're going to need to have universities. Let's look at the topography up here. Now we've got all sorts of hills over here. Some of it's pretty steep, and we built on the flat area over here, and I think this road will just extend around, but we have a lot of really buildable land up here on this hill. And I thought it would be super cool to have the administration building for the university sit on the highest point up here on this hill, which is this one right here. And that actually has a really good view. It's got nice steep slopes on the side, which will give it a good unobstructed view of the city as it grows, as well as this development over here. Now, we didn't get this, I didn't set up a district for this. Let me do that really quick here. We'll call that Bayview, since it has a great view of the bay from all of these buildings right here. And we'll probably build some more in that neighborhood too. Now, in order to get up to this hill, we've got a pretty steep grade right here, and we want to take advantage of some of this flat area around to build the buildings of the university. Now sadly, and this really breaks my heart to do this, but we have the 81 tiles mod and we're going to add significantly to population here. But I really need the city square to be able to access this entire area up here, which I really hate to say, but we still will have extras, so there'll be lots of room for overcharged egg to work with in spite of my adding one more city square to square this off. So let's get to building that university. Now first off, if we take a look at this hill, I think it is really cool. If you look down, this is Main Street, 10th Street, and this is 11th Street. We almost have a clear view on 11th Street. So I always love lining up sight lines. So let's line up the sight lines here, and in order to do that, I'm going to use a gravel road, and I'm going to use Anarchy to set that up so that I don't have to worry about these being obstructions or anything. So I want to be able to make sure that this lines up really nicely. So that'll give me a good idea of where the sight line is so that I can line things up on the top of this hill. So now, let me get the angle here just right. That looks pretty good. So if I were to line things up, I think that would make sense right there. We get to the top of this hill. All right, so now before I go any further, I need to set up a campus area. I gotta paint that in, and it's going to take up most of this area here. I'm just gonna build it bigger because I can shrink it later. All right, so this is going to be called Highland College. Okay, so now I want to go over to my trade school campus area, and I want to pick the trade school administration building, and I want to line it up right on top of that corner right there, and then we'll get an idea of how our sight lines work after all the happy faces smiling about the university are gone. I'm going to go ahead and pause it right now. We're going to be doing some serious construction here, probably taking out a few roads that don't have alternate routes. So now we can look right down 11th Street here and look straight up at Highland College's administration building. That is exactly what I want. Okay, so now I played around with this a bit and stumbled across a really cool idea for the layout of this university. Okay, so I already have a 10 unit segment here. I'm going to take this out another 10 units. And then 12 units up, I'm going to use a 3, 4, 5 right triangle, or actually a 12, 16, 20 right triangle. I got 16 units here and 16 units here. I'll end up with 20 units. Oops, let me turn bending off. I end up with perfect 20 unit segments here and here, as well as being 20 units right here. Then, turn my road guidelines back on, I can set this up. It's perfect 10 plus 10 road that plugs in at a 90-degree angle here. And then I can get rid of this guide road, and I've got a really cool wedge shape right here. And this road goes straight on down the hill and will run into our main road once we build it over here, which this will have eventually turn this into a path that leads straight up here. I'm gonna build this down 24 units just for now. But this will give us a nice unobstructed view of that main building with a really cool rotunda. So now I'm going to build a temporary road to connect this because I really want to make sure that my Sims start getting educated right away. That is a waist deep road that I am not going to keep, but it will suffice at connecting our university for the time being. Let me run some water up here. Okay, now our first building, it's going to be a big one. I want to build a police academy here. This will add 1,000 to our capacity. We just need to find a place that is flat enough, and we'll probably rearrange these buildings. It's really difficult to plan all these when you don't have all the buildings available to you right away. I'm going to throw a couple of dormitories here, and we'll let this rip as soon as I connect some electricity. All right, let's let this rip and see how many students we're able to hold. We only have 1,600 capacity. We can add more capacity with a study hall. Throw in a couple of those. And I need to get some water. Okay, so we're still really short here, but we've got something happening here. So let's just roll with this and we'll come back to this. and start rearranging things once we know where our streets will be. Right now, we need to start planning the streetcar system. All right, so we can actually unload this cemetery, and that can be bulldozed. I'm gonna take advantage of the opportunity to do that because we might need a place to throw something, take care of garbage as we grow, and redevelop that land. Okay, so now we want to plan the route of our streetcar line. Now, I think that after looking at this, there are many options. I could run a tram line right down Main Street, but the grade police have called and told me, nah, don't do that. Especially with the highway interchange, it's really going to get congested on Main Street if we just rely on it for the only connection to get across to this neighborhood. So what we're going to do is pick another street. And this isn't really the most practical place over here at Dale Hill to connect because we've got pretty steep hills and it's also disconnected from the rest of the city. But a good option here, if we take a look at the topographical lines here, we've got a crest in this hill and then it drops down in front of those houses. We'd only have to remove one house to get across that highway and we'd probably have about a level bridge. Now, it's pretty steep right here, but if we just make sure that this thing climbs, we could get a station right under here, under Main Street. We could even have it grade separated so that we'd have a station right there for Bayview, and then we could build a line right up here into our campus. So we'll do that. Now, that's going to connect the center of town. We have to also think about connecting the rest of the city, and this is the part where I explained that Boulevard Park was designed for streetcars. We're going to take this pathway out at the end of Federal Street and extend it so that the tram line runs right down Concord Place. Now, first thing we need to do if we're going to build a tram line is we need to first click on trams, and next we want to build a depot. If we don't have a depot, we can't build trams. Now, the only place we really have that's all that suitable for a depot is right here on the edge of the map. We'll build it right here at this corner. I'd really love if we could stick it right here, but I don't think that's going to work for us here. So we're going to find a place over here. I think this might be our best option. We're not going to need it right away, so I'm going to turn it off to save some money until we're ready to use it. Now, I need to upgrade some of these streets here so that we have a line. Now, this is most of our commercial area is right down here along Concord Boulevard and along Prospect and Federal. Now, Concord Boulevard is a main street with a lot of, decent amount of traffic, I imagine, or it will eventually have a lot of traffic probably. So in order to avoid congesting that, I'm going to run the streetcar down Federal and Prospect, and we'll have a big long loop that runs across downtown right here. Okay, so now we need to replace this pathway with a tram road. So I'm going to pause the game here, and we're just going to take out this path. I'm going to draw it in before I go any further. And Anarchy will let me get away with that. So now I just have to take out this gate. Whoops. I have to take out this gate and connect to Federal Street and do the same thing over here. Turn on Anarchy. And then rebuild my paths. Okay, and now I need to put the fence back in too. And I'll just adjust some of these here. Now Boulevard Park has a tram line through the middle of it, and now I'm going to choose a road that will allow me to get through this neighborhood here. We'll do the one with parking on it. Except it doesn't look like that's going to fit. So I have to use the 1 unit wide one in order to run it down Concord Place, and I can only run it one way. Obviously that's going to be a problem when I need to complete the loop. Run it down Prospect Place here too, and then I need a one-way tram road that's 2 units wide. There we go. I run the same thing over here. I ran it in the wrong, put it in the wrong place. Okay, so from 23rd Street, it'll run along Concord Place and Prospect Place through Boulevard Park, and then it will separate at 14th Street and run down Federal and Prospect. Now I need to put a line on that segment. All right, why don't we start on the easy side first? First, let's start in Boulevard Park here. I want to have a stop right here on this edge of the park, and then another one over here near this one. Put the stop so that we don't have any Sims trying to cross the street in front of the tram right here. Then it's going to go down Prospect Place, and we'll have it put a stop down here. Another here. That stop right there. And now it's not like this is a very long walk to get anywhere, so we want to try not to overwhelm with too many stops here. Now we're going to have another tram line cross here at 11th Street, so I think we should have a stop there. That's close to Main Street, so we won't put a stop there. What we'll do is we'll put one down here at, what is that, 3rd Street. Might as well put another one right here. Now we do have the waterfront right here, so why don't we put a stop right here as well, and that will spread out and give some access to Main Street as well, a little quicker access. Run it over to Boulevard Park. Okay, now I need to turn on my depot here, and hopefully I did this right, and I have a tram line. I might have done something wrong. That's strange. For the sake of safety, no, we'll do that. We'll have it right by the plaza. There's already lots of Sims lined up to go use it. That's what we want to see. All right, so now let's get to connecting that university. And we might have to deal with some traffic issues here. You know what, before we go any further, let's deal with some of these traffic issues. We've got a lot of turning traffic right here, and that doesn't really mix well with rapid transit here. So a couple of things I want to do here. First off, I really don't want anybody turning left onto that street from Main Street. So we're going to ban left turns here in both directions and make that a straight through lane again. And then we're going to ban left turns along Federal Street. They'll just have to use other streets in the grid to connect. We'll do the same thing up here on Prospect. Really don't want them turning left here at Concord Boulevard either. Got this street over here for that. I don't want to prohibit left turns here. Or here. I think I'll prohibit left turns right there too. If I prohibit a left turn here, that'll make it so that the streetcar can't make the turn. That's not what we want, so. Okay, so that should take care of all of those left turns. We've got more traffic going up Main Street. We have a little bit of a jam going on over here. We'll take care of that in a second. Take a look at that. Maybe it'll clear by the time we get around to it. So now we want to start building our tram line down 11th Street. And what we're going to do here is just connect straight across here between Prospect and Federal, and then we're going to run it right on down to our park. Okay, and I believe, I didn't give that one a name. Well, let's just call this Water Tower Park. There we go. Okay, so we have some interesting terrain right here. I want to make this as easy as possible for the streetcar. Now, streetcars, I looked it up, and a lot of grades on streetcars, more steep grades than I expected to find. So this here is probably, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 meters. that this one goes up over the course of 15 units. Now 15 units times 8 meters per unit, it's 120. That's, what do you say, 5 over 120, that's about a 4% grade. That is really easy for a streetcar to manage. And it looks like, oh man, this is a little messed up. Well, it'll grow back in. Now this over here, this is a little steeper grade. That's probably not what we want, but more importantly, we've got to get over this highway. Now I'm going to convert these back over to ground segments. Maybe they are ground segments already. I can't quite tell. It looks like they're elevated segments. So let me convert these back to ground segments. Okay, I have to put the wall back in. So let me get this part here fixed too. Okay, so we've got the barrier back. All right, so now I want to make sure that I have an idea of how high I need this bridge to be at minimum. So if I use the terrain height tool, I can get an idea that this is about 46 meters high. That means I need to be 12 meters higher than that. That's where I'd like to be. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So we'd be about 9 meters high up here at the top of that hill, and probably want to smooth that grade out a bit as we continue along. So what we'll do is extend right here. We want to make this elevated. Actually, we're going to use anarchy. I'm going to turn off the snapping. Okay, now I want to have this, let's level this out here so that it's the same level as the highway. I'll demolish that house here, take away the zoning. Okay, that will give me enough room to work with here. And I want that to be, I want that to be 12 meters high. All right, now I can use move it to even out the slope. That is a little bit better. And we'll fix some of this up a little bit here in a second. Okay, so now my next priority is to get up this hill. Let's see where I would end up. I believe it's right here at this node. Yeah, that lines up. Okay, so I need to be 12 meters below this node in order to get the tram line through. So I'm going to use the same technique here again. That's 83 units, 83 meters, I should say, in terrain height. I'm going to change that to 71 meters. Increase my brush size a little bit here. And that will give me a good idea, a good starting point. Now I want this to be flat underneath this because I'm going to put a station right underneath Main Street. So in order to make sure it's flat, and I only want this to be a tram track, but we're going to draw it in with gravel roads because we're going to do quite a lot of reworking here, and I don't want to spend extra money if I don't have to. Okay, so 12 units right there along a flat area. Now I don't need it to be flat the entire way, I just need it to be flat when it's under the bridge where the station's going to go. So we'll use some guide roads right there that I can demolish. Then I will snap to this segment and go straight up the hill. I want to make sure I check straight slope right here, and we'll go straight over the highway. See what the grade looks like. Wow, that is a really gentle grade. No problems there. All right, now let me increase the height here of Spruce Street. I'm going to bring this up to about there, and then I'm going to slope this again. And I'll do the same here. And while we're at it, we need to do some work on Main Street. The grade police told me I just couldn't live with it like this. So we're going to actually we're going to fix the geometry of this whole interchange. But for right now, I'm just going to fix from Dale Drive up to Valley Drive and up that really steep hill right there. Okay, that's a little more even, and we'll probably work on that some more still, just to make that a little bit more realistic, a little bit more gentle for all of the big, heavy vehicles that go up and down Main Street. And one of the other reasons why I wanted to do that is because I want to connect this street right here so that I have an alternate route. I want to turn straight slope off. Oops, that's not what I want. So that road's got a bit of a dip in it, but it's not too steep. And that'll connect that and give an alternate route for Main Street traffic that's trying to get into town but doesn't need to go across the highway. So now let's make this a paved road, and then we'll make this a tram road. We'll elevate it. And then here, we're going to use a tram only road, and we don't want that elevated. Now I can undo all of that and restore my hill, and I've got a tram line running partway up the hill. Now I still have to get up the rest of the way to get to my university, and I can probably go with a steeper grade than I realized. The other thing I need to do is I need to fix Main Street here. Let me do that really quick. Alright, I can unpause now and let that run. Let me set up some traffic controls over here on Main Street. And I'm going to set up some dedicated turn lanes here too. And I'll prohibit left turns. Nah, we'll leave it go. We'll see how that works. Oh, hahaha, I forgot to, and I turned off the wrong one. Okay, there we go. So now we have another way for traffic to get in and out of town. Okay, so we've got a lot of people getting up to our university and they're all driving. They get there. We want to put an end to that. And the way we're going to do that is by building a better way to get there. All right, so we're going to use gravel roads again to rough this out. And I'm going to assume that this is going to be upgraded, and I'm going to upgrade it. All right, now we want to be 2 units away from, I want to be 5 units away from the center here, at least, and 2 units away alongside this line here to get this line to go through here. So let's see here. How are we going to run this street? Let's run the street first, and I'm going to put another temporary street in up here. All right, so this is where we want our streetcar to run eventually, is right in here. That'll give a good flat grade to go through wherever it has to go after the university. And our other street is going to run down here. There we go. Now that will be the path for our Highland Boulevard. Let me flatten out this curve a little bit and get rid of the temporary road. Now let's work out some of these grades with Move It. I'd really like it to maybe gain a little bit higher here. That'll give a good view off to the east. All right, now let's put the tram line alongside it. Now the tram line has to gain a lot more in elevation, and we want it to be at least 2 units away from the nearest road surface, because if it's not, then we end up with, just some weird artifacts of the simulation. We don't have retaining walls or anything at our disposal, unfortunately. And now I want to line this up so it comes around here. Now we've got a lot of grades here. Definitely want to smooth some of that out. Alright, so we know this is an 11 unit segment. How steep is that? There's about a 4.5 meter difference there. That's a little over a 5% grade. Now those lines, those topographical lines are a little closer, farther away than what we see in the other areas here. So let's try lowering this a little bit. Now what's the maximum that we can have here? Let's figure this out here. I looked it up, and a lot of cities have grades that go up to at least 9%, maybe even 11%. This is definitely a mountain city, so I'm going to feel good about a 9% grade. So 9%, we can go up about 8 units on this 11 unit segment right here. So we could increase that quite a bit, and it would still be a reasonable grade. That should work. That looks pretty reasonable. All right, so now I'm gonna fix this road. Okay, this is the end of our first academic year with the university here. We're unrecognized and we didn't build any academic works because I forgot about that. So in order to get our university to advance, we need to get some research projects. We need to have some academic works, and we need more campus attractiveness, which we'll get to in a minute here. We have plenty of students, so we can level up the university. Why don't we sponsor an academic work? That's one of the ways that we can increase the number of academic works, is just by paying for them, basically. All right, so now let's get this graded here. We'll spread this grade out. And that's a good place for a station right there. Let's just smooth out this grade here going down the hill. That looks pretty good. I think I'm going to call it. That looks great. Let's continue this road then. Now, I want to figure out how far I'm going to project some of these streets from the campus. I think it would be safe to say that this is going to go at least 40 units in this direction. And that would probably go with 40 units. So we should at least be able to run this 40 units. Well, let's just go 30 before we have a curve. Let me bulldoze these paths. So now let's route a street through this neighborhood. Also, let's route Bayview Boulevard here too. I'm just trying to route along the center of this flat area here so that we can access this land. And then I think this is going to connect up somehow. My goal is to get it down here to the highway so we can build another interchange. So that way everything isn't going through Main Street. Okay, so it looks like I missed a little bit here. I think I'm gonna fix that. That looks pretty good. It follows the terrain lines as close as possible, and I don't think it's too steep. Now I just need to work out some of the curves right here. Hey, not bad. All right, now let's connect it up here to this neighborhood. Alright, so now those two streets are connected. Should be able to get some highway access. Maybe somewhere down the line there'll be a little bit easier connection here, but now I just want to build an interchange. So now that we know where our roads are going, it's time to figure out where our streetcar is going to go. And I think that it would make sense for it to terminate right up here. All right, now we have a complete streetcar line. I'm just going to take out a little bit of the slope right here. That'll be good. That'll be a good start. We'll build a neighborhood up around that after we get the university going. All right, so now let's get a streetcar line going. Now, first off, I want to... oh, you know what? One other thing I have to do here. I need to build a station. I've got a lot of people walking. It's really wild to see how many people will walk along the tram tracks as soon as you get them built. I mean, they are walking up to the university instead of driving. That is a really long walk. All right, so we need to get a station built right here. And there's a couple of things that I'm thinking about here. First, we have to get down to the bottom. We've got an intersection right over here already, so why don't we take advantage of that? And now we're going to build some park paths that go down to that station. Okay, so I don't really care about how perfectly this is all set up. I just want to make sure that it goes down to the level I want it. I want to make sure that the wires on the tracks don't touch the bridge. Okay, that doesn't look the prettiest, but it will work really, really well, as you're going to see in a minute here. All right, so we have a station, and there's all sorts of people who are using it just to walk. It's pretty incredible, really. Let me get these street lights going the right direction here, too. All right, let's put in a tram. Now, with this line, I'm going to start it'll be a loop, just like the other. It will just go in the opposite direction. It's going to loop around downtown with the same exact stops. All right, we need to stop there, and we'll put a stop here next to Spruce Park. We have our stop underneath the bridge here, and the next stop will be at the university campus, and we'll have a stop there as well. Another stop under the bridge, and then back up 11th Street, put one just past Main, and then loop all the way around. All right, since we have two tram lines now, let's name them. We'll call this one the Federal Line, and we'll make it blue. And this one will be the Highland Line, and we'll make it green. And are our Sims finding the stations? Yes, they are. It will be getting used. Good deal. Okay, now let's get to developing some more of our cities so that we have, and also building our university out. First off, let's build a path. Actually, let's see if we don't have any access to the fountain yet. Okay, so we'll hold off on that. For right now, we will build a path through the center there. And let's put a study hall right here. Oh, and we have an academic work. Oh, cool. So it looks like we almost... if I had just increased my campus attractiveness, we could have leveled this up. Oh well, what are you gonna do? Alright, let's get some more buildings in here. Need a little bit more to level up. We'll just put the groundskeeping building right there for now. Should be enough. Okay, great. 205. That's what we want. And now I need to get some water in here. Some electricity. Alright, we've got a lot of garbage processing capacity, but I think I'm just going to plan for this. Now, as far as electricity goes, we could use another power plant. So I'm going to build one of those out here on this service road that I just built. I just need to connect it to the rest of my electrical grid. I can do that along the highway here. Okay, now I have plenty of electricity at my disposal. Let me set up my traffic control here, and I'll set it up over here too. Now this is just a service interchange, so I'm not really worried about whether everything is connected perfectly here. I don't know that I like that having a barrier in the middle. Let me see if I can fix that. Okay, that works. How far are we from the end of the academic year? Okay, we've got a long time. All right, now let's work on building some more of this up. All right, now the other thing I want to do... Oh yeah, I almost forgot about this. This is important. We've got a really great view right here, right up 11th Street. I want to protect that. Also, I really think this is a cool view over here. But once we get past the water tower, it gets blocked out by the hill. So I really want to just protect some of this sightline area here. So I'll create a park so that I have a little control over that. Now some of this we'll take back, but I just want to make sure I protect my sight lines. So it looks like anything east of that water tower and that detention line should be okay. And I'm going to just guess that that's going to be okay too. We could probably go low density as long as the height isn't too much right there. So we'll take this part away. And then we need to cover from the water tower. I think that should work. We'll come back and work on that in a bit. I just wanted to remind myself where that would be. We'll call this Bayview Park. And we could probably go low density even down here. Just we need to make sure that we're protecting enough of the sight line so that it doesn't get obscured behind buildings or something. All right, now let's zone some more property here. That's going to be that's going to be really close to our sight line right there. Let's just make sure they're small, the buildings here. this area over here is flat enough that it would be a desirable bit of real estate right here. So let's try to build something here. Actually, I think I'm going to just have that be part of the park, the more I think about it. How are we doing on the academic here? Still a long ways away. Let's try to get a neighborhood going on the other side of the street here. Now I'm going to try to practice a little bit of road hierarchy here to prevent this Highland Boulevard from becoming a strode. That's might be a little challenging to pull that off. I'm going to do the best we can. Yay, we're recognized. That means we get more buildings. We can build a fountain, a cafeteria, gymnasium, an outdoor study area. And there were toga parties. Ooh, that's a lot of toga parties. Let me finish this neighborhood up and we'll work on the university some more. Okay, I probably need to get some schools and other services and stuff up here, but let's see what we can do about making this campus a little prettier here. We got an outdoor study, we got a fountain. I like the idea of putting a fountain right here. Let's make a little room for that. Let's move it to get this exactly where we want it. All right, we'll do that. Now let's smooth this out. Get those paths back. Let's make sure the lights are all going the same direction. It looks like they're backwards, some of them. There we go. That looks good. Let's see if we have enough attractiveness here. gymnasium right there. And we need a cafeteria. All right, we'll buy an... I don't know if we're going to have enough students, but we'll try for it anyway. All right, so we need more students. We need more campus attractiveness. And we're almost to our next milestone too, which is great. Probably use more development over here in this neighborhood. Oh, hey, we hit our milestone. We build waste transfer facilities, intercity bus terminal, waste processing complex, good stuff. Let's throw a couple of those down here in a second. That's looking good. All right, let's try laying out more of this campus. Oh, I gotta get water. I forgot the water. Well, let's see if we can find a spot for that quiet study area. It's really big. Well, we're covering the capacity for our citizens, but we probably, we need a high school. Use an elementary school somewhere in here. We need a high school. Well, it's far from perfect, but it's not too bad. It's not too bad. And we've got a neighborhood going on. We've got up to the next milestone. I don't know that we can get ourselves to the next one without a huge amount of building, but it won't take too much really to get us there. But this is a good start, I would say. We've got ourselves a university. We need to get another academic work here. Oh, no, wait. We already did a fun one. Well, hey, maybe we'll actually level this up after all. How far? Yeah, we almost at the end of the academic year, so we're looking pretty good, all in all. Let's have a look around. Whoops. Yeah, that looks pretty cool. If we go all the way down to street level, we can see that dome just above everything else, looking down 11th Street. That's not all, folks. I have a bonus video because I am figuring this out as I go. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like And of course, subscribe if you don't want to miss one last set of traffic fixes before we turn things over to Overcharged Egg. Some of the stuff he shared on his Discord looks super exciting. Thanks again to my Patreon supporters for making videos like these possible, and to you, thank you for watching. So long!